Hi everyone. I'm Eisak Sakane from National Institute of Informatics in Japan. First of all, thank you for having an opportunity to make a presentation about our Gakunin activities. We are currently developing new trust framework, to promote not only common academic services for university, but also research communities. I'll talk about activity related to next generation Gakunin Trust Framework. Let me introduce our next generation Gakunin Trust Framework. We, Gakunin, is currently building and developing a new trust framework focused on identification, authentication, and authorization. So the new trust framework should be useful for research communities in Japan. So actually, so far, currently our Gakunin Trust Federation works well for common academic university services, for example, e-journals. But our trust framework cannot apply naively to research communities. Because research community requires more complex requirement about authentication or authorization. Next, our new trust framework should be collaborating in the industrial sector. We have many industrial and academic research collaboration in Japan. Such a collaboration, we have to face some issue how do we handle the identity of industrial researchers? Next, the new trust framework should be promoting international collaboration. Also we have international research collaboration. And finally, our new trust framework should be ensuring a worldwide interoperability. To do so, currently we have 5 projects as follows. The first, Gakunin IAM, Identity Assurance Level and Authenticator Assurance Level. This project stipulates identity assurance levels and authenticator assurance level for academic in Japan. By having an identity provider and service provider refer to such documents, a unified and efficient discussions can be made possible. And by each institution complying with such documents, the trust of Gakunin as a whole can be guaranteed. We have currently the document in Japanese as well as in English. If you are interested in our document, please refer to our website as the following URL you can see. Next, we have authenticator registry. And this project can evaluate authenticator based on Gakunin AAL. Evaluating authenticators and publishing the results and encouraging university and research institutes to promote multi-factor authentication at their identity providers. Currently, we have already published the result of this project in the website as the following URL. So far, we have published the document, the result of this repository, written in Japanese, but we are ready for the English document now. And this, for authentication, authenticator registry, so the next presentation will be explained more detailed by Mizumoto Sensei. And next authentication proxy service is also called Ortros. And these proxy services provide a function for assurance level matching and credential bridging and fundamental attribute coordination. By mediating requests from service provider and linking with IDP, the Ortros will be possible to guarantee an identity assurance level and authenticator assurance level. The next, IDP hosting services. And this project try to address the issues of identity provider building and operations whose university or institution currently does not join the Gakunin. So by these services, so reduce the burden of university and research institutes in building and operating identity providers, and allow all institutions to operate identity providers by choosing from a variety of operating formats that suits their institution. And finally, we have a project, Advanced Group Management. And this project will support high-end complex authorization control requested from service provider. And this project will be explained in more details by Suzuki Sensei. And in the third presentation in this session. So actually, in my presentation, so I will talk about the authentication proxy services, Ortros. So authentication proxy service, Ortros. So first of all, let me explain the question, what is Ortros trying to solve? The answer is the problems that are difficult to solve with conventional identity providers alone that participate in participate in Gakunin. So actually, such issues is as follows. For example, authentication of researchers from institutions where it is difficult to participate in Gakunin, in concretely cooperate industrial researchers or some people affiliated with local government who contribute to research activities and so on. And these end entities in general does not have an account for some identity providers joining in Gakunin. And also, is an example of issues that we must to address is authentication of members of a community where researchers, students, and related parties from different institutions work together to conduct higher education and research activities in the common goal. Actually, concretely, such community or group are research communities and also educational communities that span organization and so on. Also, and proxy Orthoros. So, how is Orthoros solving the problem? Our approach is as follows. Utilization of external ID platforms and actually linking identities from existing external ID platforms on Orthoros and mediate between the external ID platform and the, some service provider. Service provider do not need to, in this approach, service provider do not need to connect to each external ID platform individually. So because unfortunately, one external ID cannot cover all end entities in question. Next, candidate for collaboration. Actually, so what external ID does Orthoros will be linking? So first, common authentication system for co-operations and proprietors, actually GBIS ID. GBIS ID is identity system for governmental services operated by actually, so Japanese government. And also public personal authentication services called My Number Card in Japan. This public personal authentication services and provides end entities some digital certificate, X.509 digital certificate. So my number card include the user digital certificate, and so these services provide authentication services with X.509 client certificate, certificate authentication, and also, Orthoros can construct authentication assertions to be sent to service providers based on linking of users' external IDs. Currently, so Orthoros on the Orthoros end entity can linking not only one external ID but also multiple external IDs. So. Currently, so Orthoros for after authentication, after client authentication, so Orthoros will send assertion based on linking of users' external ID, and also Orthoros will support multi-factor authentication upon request. And so this slide shows example of Orthoros application. So this slide shows online self-service for identity proofing. Actually, sign up with federated credential in HPCI project. HPCI project. Actually, HPCI stands for High Performance Computing Infrastructure, which is a supercomputing resource federation in Japan, composed of and supercomputers in Japan. Such supercomputers are connected by high-speed network, of course, HiNet. So in the HPCI project, currently the HPCI project proceeded identity proofing procedure based on face-to-face meeting with photo ID presentation. And like this, upper half of the left side. So HPCI wants to replace with such legacy traditional identity proofing procedure with online self-service. Online service services actually signing up with federated credential. And so in this approach, so first for academic researchers, and these researchers already have an account of some identity providers joining the Gakunin, and also his or her home organization endure the higher assurance level, such as Gakunin Identity Assurance Level 2, and also Authenticator Level 2. In such under such situation, so and HPCI new HPCI online self-service for identity proofing will be proceeded as follows. First, academic researcher try to access HPCI identity management system. Actually, so academic researchers will try to register his or her user information in the information on the HPCI identity management system. So HPCI identity management system will behave as a service provider. So actually, it's HPCI IDM with the request, the user request to redirect to home organization. And so next, so after redirecting to home organization IDP, so user will authenticated by home IDP identity providers. So after authentication, was succeeded. So and a valid assertion will send to HPC identity management system. And in this system, so it is important to emphasize that these points actually HPC identity management system impose the authentication assertion should be compliant with Gakunin identity access, Gakunin identity assurance level 2, and in as well as authenticator assurance level 2. So for industry researchers for industry researchers in general, so industry researchers does not have an account of some identity providers that joining the Gakunin. So So in such situations, so first, and industrial researchers first try to bind an ID issued by some available identity management system beforehand on the Outros. And the next, sign up with federated credential self-service. Actually, so industry researchers will try to access HPC identity management system. After that, HPC identity management system will redirect the user request to not home cooperation, but Outros. And the Outros acts an intermediary between an HPC identity management system and external IDM. So, and these steps, Outros actually is, I lost the pointer. And actually, so and the researchers will be authenticated by Outros with AAL2, and after authentication, Outros will send the valid assertion to HPC identity management system. So Outros can link the many external identity infrastructure such as GBiz ID and ORCID and other identity management system. And this slide shows. Actually, this slide shows an application of Gakunin IAL and AAL to identity proofing. This is a sample of application of AAL2 to identity proofing. Next slide shows authentication for access some services. And this in this situation, first we suppose the end user does not have an account of an IDP joining Gakunin, but has a GBiz ID account or the other account provided by the other identity management system. Now this slide shows first researchers try to access some services. In this example, we selected the Gakunin RDM, which was research data management, and developed by and operated by Research Center for Open Science in our NII. So in this slide shows Outros. Outros, and as first, Outros behaves as some identity providers. In this case, is GBiz ID actually can issue the OpenID token or access token. Namely, GBiz ID behaves as an OpenID provider. First steps, in relation between GBiz ID and Outros, Outros will behave as a relying party. So, researchers access to Gakunin RDM. So Gakunin RDM redirect to authentication request to Orthros. The Orthros will authenticate the users with this based on this authentication technology. And if user authentication will be succeeded after that, Orthros will behaves as some identity providers and will send to user assertion to Gakunin RDM. Yeah. So, this slide shows, let me explain the current status in authentication proxy service Orthros. So actually, how far has Orthros progressed? So currently, we have already started in operation as a successor to OpenIDP, which is actually so openly accessible identity providers can cover and users whose home organization and does not join in Gakunin. And on external ID infrastructure integration has been proven experimentally, and preparation are underway for production operation. Actually, we are preparing linking with cross-ID services, which provided linking services, public authentication services, actually, and my number card. And also, formulation and implementation of IAM specification to support the new Gakunin Trust Framework. Actually, this statement. In this statement, so we are developing the function supporting the requirement of Gakunin IAL. And finally, so we are considering more use cases, and actually considering scenarios to problems faced by some service providers. This is my last slide, and I would like to summarize my presentation. So we are developing and operation and authentication proxy services, Orthros. And also we are joining the medium-scale demonstration experiment in fiscal year to evaluate the handling of Gakunin IAL. So the medium-scale demonstration experiment will be mentioned in the final presentation in this session by Nishimura Sensei. And for future work, so we plan to the several plans as follows. So first, linking an external ID services, cross ID, already mentioned above. And also, we plan to develop the function of institution management that enables the users to make a group for authentication. Yes, thank you for your attention and many some questions, comments.
Now it's on. Oh God. Oh God. Now see now it's in the standing of the camera. But yeah. Otherwise, I'm standing in myself. Thank you. For the future work, I was wondering. So you said the cross ID. Which external identity systems will that be? Will that mean the ones you mentioned, or other ones? I mean, you were a couple of slides back. You were mentioning the systems you want to connect to. I mean, yeah, the GBIS ID. Is that what you mean with the cross ID system, or the other systems?
Yes, and cross ID and GBIS ID systems are different systems.
Yeah, but what is or is cross ID is yet another external ID
Yes.
service? Okay.
Okay.
I thought it was more the concept. No, thanks. That my misunderstanding. And develop a function of institution management. That was also wondering, do you now hand out affiliations? Because I mean, at least what I see from several stuff is that on one hand people want to have an account from the institution because they get an affiliation from the University of well, Tokyo or stuff like that. But if you do it like an external ID, even if you have high vetting, we see that also with the case for the Euro HPC case, that people can also do a login via their governmental ID in Europe, but then they don't have a affiliation from the university. So how is affiliation of importance to you, and how do you tackle that?
Yeah, and this function will support for some university or institution that cannot join in normal cannot join the Gyakunin.
Yeah.
So because some universities it is difficult to introduce or build identity provider. And also some actually some there is some problems in with respect to budget.
Okay.
This institution management function will support such university or institution. Actually, this institution management services the same as a small identity provider hosting services.
Okay. But you can also do then, for instance, like affiliation management, or anyway, how do you tackle affiliations now with these external IDs? I mean, if you have if you for instance have somebody from a company, does it get then the affiliation at company dot something, or
yeah, currently, we suppose that this system will support fundamental attributes such as organization.
Yeah.
And make a group for authentication. Actually, and in this situation, Orthoros does not handle the more attribute for authorization or access control.
Okay. And how do servers then do that? I mean, you had, I think, the case for the HPC sites. Do they then hand out the authorizations themselves? I mean, do they tackle the I mean, if I now log in, if I make a linking account from, for instance, from a company, and I have to link it in Authoros, so I can go to the, for instance, HPC resource. I mean,
yes. And actually, This slide,
Yeah.
Yeah, and-
Yeah. For instance, yeah.
so this slide shows the application of Gakunin IAL to identity proofing only. So
Okay.
and authorization and access control will be handled and separately.
Okay, and that will be done at the green.
Yes.
Ah, okay. Okay. So it's providing again to an IDM. Okay, thanks.
So there is no no. Actually, so we are considering the HPCI attribute provider to control to attribute attribute for authorization and access control. But there is no the HPCI attribute provider. But HPCI recognize that the HPCI needs to develop the HPCI identity HPCI attribute provider. Yes. Thank you. Any question? No? Okay. The next presentation. Next presentation, so Mizumo Sensei.
Hello everyone. Today I am here to talk to you about Gakunin AAL2 Authenticator Registry Update. Let me introduce myself first. I'm Akinori Mizumoto. I know my name is hardly pronounced. Please call me Mitz. In charge of the Gakunin AAL2 Authenticator Registry. Then let's begin. Summary. Gakunin AAL2 Authenticator Registry contains authenticators and those related topics in compliance with Gakunin AAL2 requirements. The Authenticator Registry will carry out the following. Investigate the specification of an authenticator. Determine whether it can be used for authentication that meets IAL2 criteria. And publish the result. It will also serve a public relations role. This presentation will explain the current state of the registry and future plans. First, let me preface Gakunin AAL2 requirements and AAL2. Gakunin provides the AAL2 requirements. An English version of the document can be downloaded here. The requirements are based on NIST and Kantara's document. Authenticator registry exists to promote multi-factor authentication. And let's talk about AAL2. AAL2 requires multi-factor authentication. The NIST and Kantara documents state as follows. You can read here. We have selected the Kantara documentation, a multi-factor authenticator or password and a single-factor authenticator. Next, the purpose of the registry. Evaluate authenticators based on Gakunin AAL2 and publish the result and promote multi-factor authentication support for IDPs. To operationalize the Gakunin AAL2 requirements, it is necessary to evaluate a large number of authenticators. However, it is not reasonable for IDPs to evaluate authenticators on their own. IDP operators will ask questions like these. So what type of authenticator is it? And does this authenticator meet the Gakunin L2 requirements? Is this authenticator single factor? Is it multi-factor? We think authenticator registry plays an important role. Authenticator registry allows institutions to know which authenticators are compliant with the L2 requirements. The Authenticator registry has been available since April 2024. You can access from this URL. Next section, I'd like to talk about our activities. First, checklist. We have created checklists for each type of authenticator based on the Kantar document. We used this checklist to evaluate the authenticator. The results are shown on the next slide. The Authenticator registry currently lists the authenticators listed here. So, TOTP device, Microsoft and Google Authenticator, and multi-factor cryptographic device, the file security keys. And about file security keys, the criteria for certification have been evaluated. Individual products The Authenticator registry is available on the website. Requirements include publication in Gakunin.jp, Gakunin.jp domain, and EG history management and transparency of history. Built using GitHub pages and material from MK Docs, when the editor writes in Markdown and pushes it to the GitHub repository, HTML is automatically generated. I'll talk about one more topic regarding website. At APAN59 in Sri Lanka, Teresa suggested, why don't you provide an English version? We accepted the suggestion and began providing an English version. You can access here. https://level2.gakunin.jp/en/ Pretty sure, and if you find some problem, please tell me. Finally, I'd like to talk about our future plans. Additional authenticator evaluation. The next slide shows the items currently being evaluated. The correct information about new authenticators. We think that passkey is very important. And a survey on multi-factor authentication in higher education, based on a survey by ELCODES, and keep the authenticator registry up to date. So, authenticator in the process of evaluation. OTP device. These two are not smartphone apps. They are installed on a PC and used. The following cases are covered: not provided with a smartphone on the work, or not unable to use it for some reason. In most cases, it is better to use a smartphone app, but rarely cases need these apps, I think. And out-of-band device, TICA, you know. Through the activities presented today, we want to contribute the promotion of multi-factor authentication and the realization of strong authentication. Thank you for listening.
It's a very quick question. Is the source code open, published somewhere for the authentication registry?
Yes, you can see GitHub repository.
Okay.
えーっと This page has a
Oh,
repository
great.
link.
Cool. Perfect. Thanks a lot. So level2.gakunin.jp,
Yes.
and then thanks.
Thanks. Okay, thank you. 次は鈴木先生。
Hello, my name is Hikofumi Suzuki. I application at National Institute of Informatics, NII. So I talked about expansion of group management system in Gakunin 2025. So utilization of example of group functions, providing cyberspace to support research and educational activities. So a platform where various online services for supporting research and educational activities can be easily accessed. Research and educational activities, for example, advanced research objects, for example, information sharing, exchange, scheduling, utilization of computational resource, and paper writing, literature research, viewing, collection, and accumulation. So, conducting lectures, course registration, material distribution, and e-learning. So, providing cyberspace to support research and educational activities. So, a research group spans multiple universities. So, this group share information using CMS, and they share information via mailing list. So, they run a simulation on computers. So, Gakunin group functions. A set of ability Gakunin IDs such as these of collaborative research groups can be treated as a group, allowing Gakunin SPs to access group and members' information. So usage example, Shibosuke scheduling service, Gakunin LMS e-learning system, Meet Week with group function support, Meetmail and Meetmail Lite, mailing list service with group function support. Not all SP can access all information. Instead, group can select the SP they wish to use, and only these SPS will receive the relevant information, ensuring data protection. So, current status of Gakunin group function MAP core provide membership information of groups to service within an identity federation. So, group information is managed by MAP core. For example, when user X use service A, the MAP core SP collector is used to retrieve group information. So, attribute information for retrieval stored in is member of attribute information. So MAP Core external interface. MAP Core provides group management interface and APIs. API SAM 2.0 attribute query. Allow retrieval a group of IDs associated with user using EPPN or email address as a key. An international standard attribute exchanges. Used by many SPS supporting group functions, including MeetWiki and Shibosuke, and etc. Proven track record of integrating with a university system by deploying a local server and using MAP cores as a proxy for internal information linkage. MAP core external interface B, information retrieval API, group API, and people API. API for obtaining a group and member information. Based on VOOT, but use custom authentication. Used in mailing list service. And so API-C, MAP Core API version 1, REST API supporting group creation and member management. API-D, MAP Core API version 2, a general purpose API complement with a scheme. So essential functions for a group for group management. Users should be able to create group and manage members. Service should be able to identify a user's affiliated group for API A. Service should be able to retrieve connected group and member information, API B. So service should be able to create group and manage a member of behalf of users, interface C and D. So MAP Core and UI and UPI, very simple system. So Web UI operation via Web UI and system group creation and member management via MAP Core API. So API connection example a Gakunin survey system. System for conducting surveys and questionnaires targeting representative operation management and administrator of participating institutions. Multiple representative can be a group and authenticated before entering a response. User can add or remove eligible members themselves. Additional notification, email address can be registered. Used for annual Gakunin IDP operation status survey. So this slide example University A. University A group operation manager include operation manager and operation administrator and additional members. So Gakunin service system contact email address notification and they log in and respond the service. So create a group for each institution of MAP Core. MeetMail, an existing mailing list service, can be used for notifications. Group information for authorization can be retrieved using the MAP Core API. So Gakuni service system use MAP Core. Group creation, member, and member management via MAP Core API. So background and challenges for expanding group functions. Challenge 1, reducing the burden of group administrators in management members. In MAP Core, design for small research group and etc., member information needs management individuality. When management members individuality, the workload for group administrator is high. There is a significant risk of missing additions of deletions of members. Challenge 2, easy creating group based on attribute like application and using them for authorization. So SP now require authorization based on units such as facilities, department, or centers. In MAP Core, creating group based on attribute like application is difficult. IDP do not have application information that can be used for authorization. So people belong to various groups, and it is difficult to management of all of them. So for example, Professor A at University A, primary application information media center. Their appointment, Graduate School of Informatics. Other applications, Sexual Harassment Prevention Committee, Security Research Team, University BA Study Group, and so on, and etc. So, toward solving challenges, first, create group based on the scope required by the SP and make them a usable authentication, authorization. Second, the group to be created should be derived from some attribute, which will help reduce the burden on group administrators in managing members. Third, the system should be designed so that authorization can be done with minimal intervention from the SP. So, future directions, creating a use case, science project, moonshot case, group management for projects involving multiple research institutions and researchers. So, management group that access multiple computing resource, data management system, and research paper management systems. Advanced human resource development, supermanent program for activating a regional collaboration, Spark case, group management for collaborative use of educational contents by multiple regional universities. So, managing a group shared access multiple educational systems. So, we will analyze use case of medium to large scale user groups that use access across multiple SPs and develop a model for effective group management. Thank you. Any question?
So thanks for the presentation, very interesting. And I think you really made a strong point about the fact that there are a lot of groups that are outside the primary affiliation of the users, researchers or academics that need to use groups for authorization. Two things. One, you already said that one of your projects is to use the proxy that you are developing in order to convey the group attributes in just one shot to the SP without needing the SP to call an API to retrieve group information. And that is something that is, I think, really important.
So, okay.
Yeah, basically adding.
This
yeah.
is the service main thing and continuous use SP connectors. So always, anytime, I'll always access SP connectors.
Yeah, of course, that method should be added, not be the only one. I mean, sending attributes with a proxy. So for all the activities for which the user is needed, for example, a researcher logging in to an HPC system or an HPC or whatever, I mean, a wiki, for example. But in the case of the mailing list, as you were pointing to, that is a case where you want to update the mailing list, for example, without the user logging in, right? So you want to retrieve the same information without the need for the user to log in.
なんて答えればいいんだろう。
Actually, so we suppose that services, for example, big services can provide some groups, but it composed of member different institution or university.
Yes.
But the constitution member of the group is the same attribute, so just a group. And so MAP Core can send attribute for authorized and access control, such as group name, and not of home organization name. Yeah. And proxy order services can handle the fundamental attribute for the name of a home organization. But currently does not handle the actually the group name of research project.
But I mean, at least in Giant and Europe, we have seen that using proxies to convey also this information, and I think CI logon is basically the same thing. From multiple sources, being able to aggregate all the information about a user in just one SAML session is quite useful. So along with the already existing method to retrieve informations with APIs, which I think will cover a lot of use cases, like the ones where the user is not actively logging in, adding this other one is crucial for researchers, for example, to access resources.
From a service perspective, it's much simpler to get it in the SAML ticket.
Because you don't need to do multiple queries. So
Even more, you don't need to
implement.
implement it in the service because it's implemented in the proxy that sends all the data and the service just look at the data. Instead of requesting.
So you receive a set of attributes, comprehending the group attributes in just one, SAML session. And you can also use multiple, for example, in this case, you're bound to use the PPN. But what if for example, you need to use another identifier, or you want to support multiple identifiers, and you couldn't. And so, but the case that you made about the API, I think, is super useful for yeah, many other cases. And the other one is the same question I made the other time: is the source code available somewhere?
Maybe is maybe core open source? Yeah, you can download software.
It's in GitHub or GitLab or in any. You distribute the source code. Oh, it's a tarball. Okay, okay. And is it available on through Gakunin, or I mean on some platform?
We used to set up this in Malaysia.
Okay, okay,
Many years ago.
okay. Thank.
Do you have any plan to publish open repositories such as GitHub in the future? MAP core code of the MAP core will be published to famous code repositories such as GitHub.
Yeah, we are considering the.
Actually, we have we plan to publish more easily for access to our implementation. So we plan to publish, for example, our MAP core source code on the GitHub repository.
Okay, thank you.
But stay tuned.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is the last presentation about the progress of mid-scale experiment about Gakunin IAL2 and AL2. We have an experiment called Mid-Scale Experiment 2024 until the end of this March. The purpose is described the second half of this slide. Academic resource usage based on IL2 and AL2 ID operation and management, which will be newly regulated by the new Gakunin. In this demonstration experiment, the IDP operating institutions participating in the Gakunin will perform ID operation and management for IL2 and AL2. The goal is to make available services that require a higher level of security and to conduct collaborative research in the open science. Whether it is possible to manage the operation in accordance with the standards of IL2 and AL2, which are under consideration by the new academic accreditation in terms of both rigor and convenience. And the important part is performing a connection test among the various IDP implementations and SP implementations. Here is a chart figure of this experiment. Various IDP and in the IDP, various status of researchers in the IDP. This includes all those previously mentioned by Sakane. And also we have various SPs in this experiment. This is the background. We want to add a new layer in new Gakunin Trust Framework. The layer is IL2 and AL2. Here is a basic policy for implementation. The first, metadata notation should be simple and easy to understand. The second is summary notation should conform to the standard specifications, and the missing parts should be supplemented with metadata notation. So the IL2, our Gakunin IL2 and AL2 is implemented by a description of metadata and summary request and summary response. Here is implementation of IDP and SP for new Gakunin. SPs for the new Gakunin will support, should support authentication context class ref. After that, this is called as ACR. However, IDPs that do not support ACR, such as Microsoft Entra ID, for such IDPs, the summary request is used, but ACR is not included. For new Gakunin, this is SP implementation. The second half is implementation as IDP. IDP supporting the new Gakunin SPs shall check the identity verification strengths and authentication strengths for the summary requests sent by the SPs supporting the new Gakunin SPs. This is stored in attribute eduperson assurance and reply. Okay. I'll skip this slide for time consuming. Here is a metadata for a mid-scale experiment. For IDPs and SPs, we collect metadata by Gakunin registration system and extracted for members of mid-scale experiment and create the mid-scale experiment metadata. Then each IDP and SP consume that metadata and authenticate. Sorry, and do the authentication. Yes. Then. This URL is mid-scale experiment metadata. Here's a metadata in simple view. The IDP and SP are in this metadata. We have also discovery service DS for this experiment and can list the IDP that participate in this experiment like this. This is a newly defined metadata element for this experiment. The two pieces of information to be included are, the first is this is for IDPs. The first element is for whether or not the ACR sent as a summary request from SP is supported. Oh, sorry. Wait a moment. Okay. Yes, the first element is whether or not the IDP supports the ACR or not. For example, Microsoft Entra ID is not supporting the ACR, so this element is indicated as false. The second element is for the IDP support should send which AL which some IDP have AL1 user and AL2 user, but another IDP have all AL2 only. This is indicated by these supported AL element. This can be used by SP for UI. This is a newly defined element for SP. For SP, we want to know the SP requires IL2 and AL2. So we defined as attribute value. SP should note attribute value IL2, AL2 in education assurance. Then we write various matrix for various use case for SP and check the use cases. Okay. Oops. This is one of SPs in a mid-scale experiment. The SP have a document to test the IDP IDP in this mid-scale experiment. And so the last of step. The SP indicates the IDP send the attributes, what attributes send to this SP, and the the real service for the Gakunin IAL2 and AL2 is future work for us. Thank you for listening. That's all. Do you have any question?
So is it all going well? Are things lining up the way you expected them to line up? And,
Sorry?
is it all coming to plan, coming to, is the outcomes you expected showing up?
Sorry.
So you're talking about this as like your experiment.
Experiment, yeah.
Is the experiment showing what you wanted it to show? Has it been successful?
No, currently, or is almost successful. We are collecting the and make a document for this result.
Well, I'd just like to thank the Japanese team for enlightening us with their activities. It's something very exciting and interesting. Well done, guys.